Welcome back to Bold of You to Say. We're back with another episode.
Bold of You to Say.
Yeah, we bring the heat.
We bring the heat.
We're back with another episode, back with more heat. This week we talked about Michigan repealing its right to work law.
Hell yeah.
Common Michigan W. Big Gretch is just out here churning out dubs. I hate how I'm talking right now. She's turning up the heat. And then we talked a little bit about the Silicon Bank Valley.
Silicon Bank?
Yeah, the Valley Bank collapsed. and that sucks. It sucks. Everything surrounding that is horrible and awful. Anyway, then we talked about the movie American Psycho, classic, great movie. A lot of people like it for the wrong reasons, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, there are timestamps in the description, so you can skip around if you want. If you want to skip a certain part, or if you just can't wait to get to a certain part, use it if you want, or don't. It's up to you. Follow me on social media. Don't follow Gavin anywhere. Don't do it.
Don't follow me. Don't stop.
It's unwise. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Leave it at Anyway, have a good 9 a.m. through 9 p.m. our official business hours. That's more of an outro thing. Let's jump into it. Look at these turkeys. Let's jump into it. So I want to revisit one of our old sound pads that I haven't really used in a little while, in light of a recent clip of ours that went, I shouldn't say viral. It got like a couple hundred views, but it got some attention from the exact opposite audience that it was supposed to.
Yeah.
I'll play the sound pad just so we can remember this man.
I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother sitting by the bank of a swimming pool,
I'm letting it roll.
which was also a river. Her genital region was exposed dimly. It had the appearance of a thick mat of hair. She was stroking herself.
I want you to absorb these words.
She walked over to me with a handful of pubic hair compacted into something resembling a large artist's paintbrush.
Hold on, he's describing
She
granny
pushed
pubes.
this at my face. I raised my arm several times to deflect her hand. Finally, unwilling to hurt her or interfere with her any further, I let her have her way. She stroked my face with the brush gently and said, like a child, "Isn't it soft?" I looked at her ruined face and said, "Yes, Grandma, soft."
So anyway, if you haven't been keeping up with the lore, I put out a clip from a couple episodes ago, I think, about Jordan Peterson. He was like, if you don't dress like a lady, how do I know how to treat you? You know, just real stable genius stuff.
And to sum up basically everything I said, I was just like, this is how you be nice to people. Just be nice to people.
Yeah, I think we had honestly a pretty moderate response. We had our response was basically like, hey, this guy has some flawed reasoning and you should treat people as individuals and not as part of some kind of monolith, because that's not what gender is.
Just be nice to other people and respect their like, if they want to be called a certain thing,
be nice
just
to
call
other
them
people.
that thing. Just I mean within normal social reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if someone like
if they're like a neo-Nazi and they're like, call me Z Kyle, I'll be like, no.
Yeah, but that's like not even something that happens. And if they're a neo-Nazi, like, I don't know, I'm not going to hang out with that person anyway.
Yeah, but
we're
be
just
nice
describing
to people,
like polite society kind of stuff.
Just be nice to people.
Just be nice to people, and people took issue with that. They were like, no, gender is when it's you gotta, if you're born girl, you gotta be girl, and if you're born boy, you gotta be boy. Just like a third grader's understanding of gender dynamics. And this is all to say, one comment I will say. One comment said, notice how everyone is like, shitting on you guys. You should, you should consider why that might be for a second. Hold on. I'm looking out for the page on the found the sound pad I'm looking for. Anyway, he was like, you should reflect on that, and then basically went on to be incorrect. So anyway, that's all to say. After a lot of reconsideration, everything we said was correct until a trans person corrects us on, you know, the details, the finer details of what we said.
I mean, because again, you and I,
we have a limited perspective.
As far as I know about you, Alex, and as far as I know about myself, we're both not trans.
Right. Yeah, and until someone
about
corrects
the complexities
us
of being trans, I don't think we're the source of information that people should be going to.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, I just want to say, be nice to people. That's it.
Until I get better information. Everything we said was correct and good, and everything that people commented was bad and wrong. And I will cap it with this.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
And it's funny because, like, our rationale is so generally simple. It's just like, yeah, if it doesn't affect you, just be nice.
Yeah, we're really Occam's razoring this shit.
But everyone else is just like, no, if the je ne sais quoi of the human experience.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, just be nice. Just be nice. Just be nice to people.
With some of the commentators, assuming you take them at face value and they actually believe what they believe, et cetera, what we've said before, assuming they actually believe it, like, they're just making a more stressful world for themselves. Because, like, it's the kind of issue, like gender, like if someone wants to be, or I don't want to use that framing, if someone is transgender, right, and they want to live the life that they feel is more fit for them, you know, whatever form that takes, they want to grow their hair out, they want to, you know, wear more feminine clothing, whatever, you know, they want to use different pronouns, that does not affect you in any way other than, like, superficially, like, you got to call someone a different thing, but that's just kind of a normal thing that happens with things other than, you know, like gender issues. Like, people sometimes want to be called a different thing, and that's fine. It's a non-issue. Right.
People legally change their names sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they only really do like that. Like, they only get nitpicky about it with gender. You know, you're gonna like actually, I'm not gonna call him Eminem because that's not his legal name.
Actually, because he's not a morsel of delicious chocolate.
Yeah, he's not fuckable. I mean, he's not made of chocolate, and he doesn't wear those sexy heels that I like.
So I just like, just be nice to people.
Just be nice to people. Yeah, no, like, it'll just make your life better if you want to think about it in the most selfish way possible.
And just be respectful of people.
Yeah, just give it.
No.
Anyway, I have a couple of news minute things. One of the I was toying with the idea of possibly talking about the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Do you want to just lightning round that real quick, because I have a very simple point to make about it.
I don't know a lot about it. Can I just guess what your points are?
Sure.
It's just like capitalism to make very bad investments and then make the federal government pay for it.
Yeah, well, that is part of it. Yeah, so a very, like, layman level explanation is basically Silicon Valley Bank was seeing some kind of decline in something, so they had to sell off a bunch of bonds, and then people saw that, like, out of context, and they thought, oh shit, this bank's, like, losing money, it's a bad investment, gotta pull out. So everyone tried to pull out their money at once, and Silicon Valley Bank didn't have like the they didn't have, like, the resources, they didn't have, like, the money on hand to, like, cover these withdrawals because of deregulation that they pushed for.
Right.
And so they were about to fail, and then the government, it seems like it only does things when it will affect the wealthy. Like this, like, it was going to affect a bank, it was going to affect wealthy people, so the government, like, almost immediately bailed them out.
But also a lot of consumers as well.
Yeah. No, it is.
It's like a domino effect as well. So like, it
is like the lesser evil to bail out the bank.
It's possible for other banks to go down as the market panics, and that affects a lot of people that aren't rich and wealthy.
Yeah.
Because that can also affect interest rates and all this fucking dumb shit that it's not like dumb shit. It's just how it works. It's just how it operates. And yes, it's because of this deregulation that happened under the Trump administration. Was it under the Trump administration? I just kind of assumed
I think it was under the Trump administration, but I mean, I believe both parties are, they're fairly comparable when it comes to their record on deregulation. Like, I'll give the Biden administration credit for like being more like pro worker. It's a low bar, but being more pro worker, pro consumer, because they have like, you know, it's a different guard, I guess. But But yeah, historically they've been kind of similar. But yeah, no, like I recognize that it's the lesser evil, definitely, to bail out the bank. Like, even though like, yeah, they took our money, they were irresponsible with our, like, being like consumers. They took consumers' money, they were irresponsible with consumers' money. And because of that, they take our tax dollars, more of the consumer's money, to make up for it, basically. But yeah, it's not that like I wouldn't want them to be bailed out, because like, yeah, it'll affect a lot of people very negatively if that bank isn't bailed out. I don't know, because I'm not an economist, but perhaps there is another way that doesn't involve just kind of getting them out of trouble, like make the customers whole, but like keep the people running it on the hook.
I'm not sure what trade-offs there would be in this idea, but like, I know in like the 60s and 70s there were just a lot of little banks, like breaking them up. That's a big thing, right? And so if one went down, it was like, oh no, like 500 people.
Yeah, it would be nice if they would, like, you know, attach some strings to these bailouts. Like, yeah, we'll bail you out, but, you know, we got to, you know, break up the bank, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, my point is more so I wish they would, you know, the government would quickly respond with, like, you know, throwing money at the problem when it comes to things like unemployment and poverty. Like, instead of trying to, like, you know, do like the 4D chess, like, oh, if we, you know, raise interest rates, it'll increase unemployment and that'll make some wages go up. Like, they do these like mind games when it comes to like people not making enough money to live. But when it comes to a bank collapse, they're just like, oh, well, just give them money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, I think we just have two different ways of looking at things.
Well, like, they try to like play the market. Like, they try to go by like the market's rules when it comes to when the American people are in financial trouble, except for very, you know, very big like outliers like stimulus checks. Like, that was a good thing. It didn't go far enough, but anyway, they try to like play into like the market's rules when it comes to that. Like, oh, you know, we'll raise interest rates, you know, do this. Like, they try to like adjust certain things.
What outcome would you have wanted though?
With what situation?
With this situation, like, what outcome would you have preferred? Like the bank going down, or what was the alternative for you?
I mean, I think when you get to the bank actually collapsing, I don't know, because I'm not an economist, but I think at that point it's kind of too late to have a good outcome. You're just kind of comparing bad outcomes. So I don't really know with that, but you know, like, bigger picture, it would be just better for everyone if banks were, you know, more tightly regulated and, you know, broken up so they're not too big to fail.
Right.
Like, a bank should be able to fail without it collapsing the American
economy
or the world economy.
Well, let's be honest. If like something devastates the American economy, it devastates the world economy.
Yeah,
like, that's just
that's why next. I kind of lump the two together.
It's a domino effect.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing too. People always talk about domino effects as though each domino is the same relative size to one another. When in fact, it's like a small domino can take down a slightly larger domino, which takes down a slightly larger domino, which takes down a huge domino.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that's what the government usually worries about when it comes to bank stuff like this, because a part of it is also like psychology of like, yeah, if one bank goes down, it causes the market to absolutely throw a fit.
Yeah.
And people take their money out of banks, and then a lot of banks fail.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the same amount, they don't have that money on hand. Not to say that like they don't have that wealth as an institution.
Yeah,
they just don't have.
Yeah.
They just don't have that physical, the green on hand. They don't have the green on hand, which is just difficult. To deal with.
The only way to get like a good outcome in this situation is if you go further back. Like if we're talking about like what should have been done, once you get to the point of the bank collapsing, like the bank run is happening, like there's not much that can be done.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, the Fed is the institution that oversees the banks. And if I'm not mistaken, they're both a mix of private and what's the word? Public and private tools, pretty much.
Yeah. The Fed is, from my understanding, like from what I remember from my high school civics class, basically is it's kind of like the post office in that it's technically a private institution, but it's so closely tied to the government that it's kind of indistinguishable from, you know, a government institution.
Okay, so the Board of Governors is an independent government agency. The Federal Reserve banks are set up like a private corporation.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, the one note that I wrote down for this is, and I think it kind of summarizes what I've been saying. This is my note. I don't know much about the economy, with air quotes, but it seems like we aren't really doing quote unquote things that well. And that's my message. That's my message. Why do we bend over backwards to uphold capitalism? Like it's
Well, when you say things, do you mean like production, GDP? Do you mean
things.
like
I mean things.
Like
I mean quote unquote
GDP per
things.
capita? Because there are a lot of things that like are connected to the economy but aren't connected to each other.
Yeah. I just mean bigger picture. I think we prioritize weird things. Like we prioritize.
I would agree with you that we prioritize the health of the economy over the health of the individual.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Well, like we prioritize like, you know, like higher stats in different fields over like people's real material conditions.
Right.
Like, the unemployment is low, but do people have good jobs? Do they pay enough to survive?
To that point, I would say that a generally healthy economy is also generally good for a country, but I would say it disproportionately is disproportionately good for different individuals.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of how we measure the health of the economy has to do with the stock market, which only directly impacts people with stocks. And like most people don't hold stocks. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they can't really afford to worry about that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we prioritize upholding this game that we play with each other. That's how I view it. Like it's just a weird math game that we make each other play. And we prioritize upholding that game over giving people decent lives.
But
that's what I mean by we're not really doing things that well.
I would agree with you that like yes, the act of like looking over stocks and seeing what stock earned value and seeing what stock decreased in value is like it operates kind of like a game of Monopoly. Like I get it. But at the same time, I very much feel that it is inherently not because of the repercussions it has, and the fact that regardless what the stock market is kind of reflecting is the strength of different businesses, and that's a reflection of the strength of our economy.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's that speculation, yeah, it's kind of a game, but like it also has repercussions on things that aren't a game at all.
Yeah. Well, like if the stock market crashes, it hurts everyone. But if the stock market is doing really well, it doesn't necessarily benefit most people. Like you're better off than you would be if the market was collapsed. But like to the extent that it benefits your life when it's doing well, it's not really like that drastic.
I agree to a point. My agreement to that point is like an ocean dotted with islands.
What do you mean?
So like there are parts that I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I agree with that. But the general premise of what you said, I'm mostly like, not necessarily. Not like in like I completely disagree with you. It's just that it's like, nah, not exactly.
Oh, what do you disagree with?
The idea that if the stock market crashes, what did you say exactly? Again, well, I don't want to misquote you.
If the market fails, it hurts everyone. But if the market is doing really well, it doesn't it helps the rich, it helps business owners, but it doesn't really help the average working person. You know, it's like the difference. It's like if the market crashes, you lose your job. But if the market is doing really well, your wage doesn't necessarily increase.
And to that, I would say, as I said before too, a good economy is generally good for everyone, but that what's the word? That goodness, for lack of better words, is disproportionately affecting different people, right? Mm-hmm. So it's disproportional on a person to person level, in the same sense that the Wall Street like crashing is disproportionately going to affect different people.
Yeah.
And so when you say it hurts everyone, well, yeah, it does. But people who have less skin in the game will feel less effect of that crash versus people who have put their entire salary into Wall Street. Not saying that that's like a good thing. That's just how it works. But making a general statement that it's just bad for everyone, I think it's just a misrepresentation.
Well,
it's more complicated than that, because then it does like technically hurt everyone, but like how do you define hurt? Is it just in stocks? Is it just in wealth? Is it just in can they feed themselves? Can they clothe themselves? Or is it bad in the sense that like, no, the entire system in our society collapses? Like what level of bad are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out where we're disagreeing, because you're kind of reiterating what I'm arguing, but saying that there are granular differences in between like how it affects one person versus another. I think we agree on my point about how the market affects people at large, right? Like the market crashes, it hurts
a
lot of people.
You know, I think the differences in our two views are that like, where I'm like, no, we just need to tweak the system and to change it. I feel like you're more advocating like a revolution in it, like complete rewrite of how things work.
Yeah, that was kind of my bigger picture argument or point, I guess. Just we prioritize like the market over like making a better life for everyone. That's kind of my bigger picture point with this. Like, it's just kind of an example of how, just as a society, we prioritize certain things over others, and I think we should, like I've said in recent episodes, like we are effectively post scarcity. We have a lot of stuff, more stuff than we know what to do with. We just don't distribute it in a way that helps people. Like we distribute resources in a way that helps capital owners. It helps people that want to sell those resources. Like that's kind of what I mean. Like we prioritize perpetuating capitalism over, making a better life for people. And I think you would agree with that.
I would agree to the point Yes, but also I think at least in the States, and in many other countries to varying amounts, we regard a healthy, strong economy as being a reflection of a healthy and strong society. And in many cases that's the case, and in many cases that's antithetical to society.
Sure. Well, like the Fed chair, like put out their the Fed's plan for like helping curb inflation, and that involves raising interest rates, which involves raising unemployment by a whole percentage point according to their own projections. So that's something that would help the economy, like it would curb inflation, but it would also devastate millions of people's lives. I believe it was the figure was 9 million that are projected to go to get fired or laid off. So that's kind of what I mean. Like we prioritize keeping the system going, raising our stats, curbing inflation, which is on paper a good thing, and it is absolutely a good thing to stop inflation. But what does it say about us that the only way we can think of to solve inflation, or the only way that the people in charge are willing to stop inflation, is to hurt average Americans? And that's kind of what I mean by we prioritize. Not to sound like a broken record, but we prioritize the market over people.
Yeah,
and
I think we're kind of beating a dead horse here with this conversation.
No, I think we agree. I think you're just finding like granular differences of opinion.
I think where you look at the very specific, I'm looking at the very general.
Well, I thought I was looking more at the general, but
I feel like
whatever.
I feel like we're in this that Spider-Man meme, except there's only two Spider-Men and we're pointing at each other.
The original meme, then.
The original meme.
The original meme.
Oh, was that actually the original?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The three of them was, I think that was like a fan edit after No Way Home came out.
I feel like that original Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
We're saying the same things,
It's
but
just like Star Trek.
We are coming from two different vantage points.
Yeah, no, I think we agree. I think that that's all to say. I'm right and a very stable genius.
I think I'm also correct.
I think we're both correct because we're saying the same thing. Anyway, you want to talk about the right to work thing?
Yeah, I mean, so we actually talked about this in my public administration class. So what specific story are you talking? I don't want to get in a whole lecture about what that is before we actually talk about the story. Is it about how that was overturned in Michigan?
Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, under the Republican leadership, I think like a decade ago, they set up a right to work law. And that's, to sum it up very briefly, right to work is it's like a right wing framing of it. It's a way to basically kneecap the power that unions are able to have by.
Right.
I'm trying to think of a quick, easy explanation that doesn't get into too many of the details, but it's basically an anti-union thing. That's where I'll leave the brief explanation.
I think I can kind of put this in general terms.
Yeah.
So right to work essentially, I mean the definition of it is
right to work without a union, interfering, quote unquote.
Well, right. So the whole point of it is so that when you join when you start working for a corporation or a company or whatever, you are not forced to join a union. This is despite the fact that if you need union assistance, you are still entitled to it without paying union dues, which is inherently antithetical to the entire point of a union.
Yeah, it's designed to make them hemorrhage money, basically. Exactly.
And actually, so it's interesting too because I learned this in my public administration class that it advocates for or at least unions advocate for like equal and fair protections and equal and fair equity,
Yeah.
So
overall better working conditions and like higher wages, better benefits.
Right. But that doesn't mean necessarily that if you are not a part of the union and you get union assistance, that you don't have to pay back the union. Like, you still have to. Or something like that. I forget exactly. But I'm not sure if that was how it was under... I don't know a whole lot about this in particular. But essentially, right to work would make it so you don't have to join a union despite getting union help with certain matters.
Well, like, if you enjoy your weekend, you have unions to thank for that. If you enjoy working for 8 hours as opposed to 12 hours or 16 hours, you have unions to thank for that.
And you know what's really sad too, because those big salaried positions that are like, oh, you're the director of blah 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 blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they don't get weekends. They don't. You know why? Because they're salaried and they are small enough in a certain industry or a certain corporation that they don't really have the enough of a cohesion in that company to unionize.
Yeah.
So that's why when you get a salaried position, they put so many like expectations on you because they know they can just fire you.
Yeah, that's why I like how like the Scandinavian countries do it, where like they have sectoral bargaining. So like just like instead of a union for like a type of job at a specific company, they just have like the whole industry work together to bargain for their negotiate their wages and benefits and everything.
You know, it's really cool too, because a lot of the times what unions push for become just like what is it? Not labor standards. It's industry standards.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
well, yeah, like it becomes
that to happen.
It becomes like what Kyle Kalinske calls the duh position. Like, duh, you get a weekend. Like, duh, you
get 2 days.
You don't work for 20 straight hours.
Duh, you don't use children for labor.
Duh, you get paid sick time off. Oh, wait, we don't have that in this country, actually.
Duh, if you make a human being that you get time off to recover and child care and money for child care.
Yeah, unless you live in America. But, yeah.
You know what's kind of fucked, too?
Every good thing that we have is because of unions, and every good thing that European countries have that we don't as workers is because they had better unions.
Yeah. Remember that one time Volkswagen made a plant in America and they were like, cool, you guys, we have a union here for you, you can start. And we're like, fuck you, we don't like unions! Yeah. The workers!
Yeah, fuck you, I don't want to get paid better. What do you think, I'm a communist?
They were like, even, you're not on the right side of something when even Germany's being like, well, that's a little fucked up, don't you think?
Yeah, the Nazi car manufacturer.
Like, oh shit, really? And I think they actually ended up like making a different type of union for America. They're like, they don't want unions. What should we do? And what
if we had like a group that like, you got everyone together and you were like, hey, what do you guys want in terms of benefits? And then they go get you that. But it's not a union. It's not a union, I swear.
I just imagine like the fucking board meeting in Germany and they're like, yeah, so they don't want unions. And like the director of like operations in the United States is just like, well, why not? And they're like, because they don't like the idea of unions for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we just call it like, I don't know, like a labor club or something?
Yeah.
Like a labor club, would that work? And we'll just listen to them.
Make it sound more white collar.
As they want. And we will do that. And they will be happy, presumably, because they don't like the union.
And now they're French.
They like the union club. Oh, I don't. Oui. There has to be a. I was trying. I can't.
Haley's calling.
Uh-oh.
What's up?
What's up?
Hey.
Hey,
hi.
We're recording.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Caller, would you like to add anything?
I just wanted to let you know that I'm on my way home.
Okay. What do you think about Michigan repealing its right to work law?
I don't know.
It's a good thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear about that, so I don't know anything about it.
Oh, yeah. Michigan got rid of its right to work law, which strengthens unions.
I heard that they just did something with like LGBTQ plus rights.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't hear about the workers' rights thing being or right to work thing being repealed.
Yeah, I saw Big Gretch signed in the LGBT protections. That was really cool. That was another really cool thing. Common Michigan W.
Yeah, right. I think it's because of our proximity to Canada. I think we're just
I think
some of that.
We're getting some windfall.
Some of that. You know, we're getting some of that like socialist crop dusting across the lake.
It's probably their pesticides,
right, or lack thereof, because they have industry standards.
They spill niceness, and we spill cancer.
This is unrelated, but I was really annoyed when I got here because the people who parked like did the thing where there's like not enough space to parallel park between two cars.
Oh.
Because they didn't like park correctly.
Yeah.
And so like I was trying to parallel park in this space that ended up being too small, and then there was like a bunch of cars behind me trying to get by, and it was stupid. And then I had to like drive off because I couldn't fit in the spot.
You know how that makes me feel?
How?
This is me right now.
I'm gonna blow up the city.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we got to get back to the show.
All right. I am approaching the car right now. How much longer are you going to be recording? Just so I know when I get home.
I don't know, like 3, maybe 4.
It's 4:19 right now.
Yeah, 3 or 4 more.
Hours?
Oh.
Okay.
He's not going to specify. He's being stupid.
Look, we haven't even gotten to the movie yet, so we need at least 10, 15 more minutes.
Hours, 10, 15 more hours.
That's what I meant.
All right. Well, I will let you go.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Gavin, aren't you going to say it back? Oh, she's calling. Hello?
Love you too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Bye.
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 I love you.
Bye.
Anyway, yeah, shout out to Big Gretch for signing in 2 very good pieces of legislation.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of right to work, because like it intuitively it makes sense. Like, oh, you shouldn't have to pay union dues. You think about it more, it makes less sense. We've gone over that. But I want to poke some holes in the fundamental logic of, you should be able to work somewhere without having to pay union dues. We don't really think of it in terms of like in the same terms when we think about like taxes.
Right.
Like you just pay your taxes.
Right.
And then you get semi-functional roads, and you get the police and the military.
Yep.
And libraries sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Look, this country's a bad example, but in a functioning society, you pay taxes and you get good things because of that.
And you can live there.
Dude, I saw a video of people, it was in like Sweden or Norway or Finland, one of those weird countries. And like someone was interviewing people, like asking like, hey, do you like paying taxes? And everyone was like, yeah, I love paying my taxes. Because like our fucking system works and we get good shit because of it. But like, yeah, we don't really think of it like that. You should be able to live in a country and not have to pay taxes. Well, like, how do you expect the government to function?
Like, I always see these videos of like, from the opposite perspective of like, oh my God, look at how much of your salary they take, right? Without like mentioning, oh, by the way, if you like break your femur, you don't go into bankruptcy.
Of course. Yeah. Like one of the guys in the video was like, yeah, no, we pay a high tax rate, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Like it just is, and it's that simple. Shout out to Marianne Williamson, because she had a really good response when someone asked her about the price of Medicare for all, and she had a really good response. Like she said it in a really good good public figure, good public speaker kind of way. But the point that she made was basically, Medicare for all costs whatever X amount of billions of dollars or whatever. I don't remember what the amount was, but the point is we spend more right now for our healthcare than like we spend way more than other countries do. Like we spend like, I believe the figure she cited was 20% of our GDP goes to healthcare. And in other countries, it's more like 5%. So like, how can we afford not to have Medicare for all? How can we afford not to have some kind of universal system like every other developed country?
Right. And then there are always so many people who are like Ted Cruz was once like,
I'm Ted Cruz. That's what he sounds like.
Yeah. Melting face Ted Cruz.
Makes me feel like this.
I'm going to blow up the city.
Definitely doesn't make me feel like
I'm going to come.
No, you had to play the other I'm going to come.
Oh. This is me when I'm going to come and then I see Ted Cruz. Where is it?
I'm coming.
Bella, I don't want you to come.
And then, then I'm like, oh, fine. I'll just grab a drink. I'll go have a
soda.
Well, I'm always sitting there, like, just chill, listening to legislative things, and then I see that they passed it, and then I'm like, that Nirvana song.
Oh, I did not add it.
Fuck you! Fuck you! God damn it!
We were talking about this the other day. Gavin wanted me to add a song to the soundboard, a very copyright protected song by Nirvana. Like the first, 15 seconds of it is just an instrumental intro. And then come. It's come as you are. But the first great. 16 seconds or so were it's almost like it was meant to be comedic.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a Family Guy bit.
I like the fact I like to think that Kurt Cobain was like, hey guys, I want to make a song that they're going to like meme on podcasts in like 30, 40 years. And they're going to be like, what's a podcast?
Yeah. No, he was really ahead of his time.
Kurt Cobain didn't know what podcasts were.
Dude, he didn't know about Obama. Dude, he didn't know about 9/11.
Shit.
Fuck. No one tell him.
He didn't know about Pornhub. Oh, anyway, I was listening to a thing from Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
I think he actually glues on his beard. I don't think he can grow one. But anyway,
he probably does the same thing Ben Shapiro does.
Right. But Ted Cruz was like, we don't need universal health care because, some people don't need the Maserati of health care. And
what the fuck does that mean?
Some people just need the Subaru of health care.
Some people don't need to be treated for cancer.
And then he got sued by those two brands of cars.
Oh.
He didn't. I just wish he did. That would have been so fucking funny.
That wouldn't be unprecedented.
If Subaru was like, we actually make very good cars, and Maserati was like, we actually make overpriced cars.
We actually make really shitty cars.
Yeah.
I want them to go to court with that justification just so they can sue Ted Cruz.
No, they do the Fox News grift where it's like,
our cars are made for entertainment purposes only. They were never meant to be driven on the road.
Yeah, anyone in their right mind wouldn't drive our cars because they're shit.
That should be Buick's slogan.
or
just any shitty car brand.
Or Ram.
Yeah.
Or Ford.
Yeah. Ford, more like, fuck you, you're gay. That's what I grew up with. That's the discourse I grew up with. Ford's gay. No, Chevy's gay. Like, they're both gay. They both have sex with each other. I've seen it.
Well, I'm
no,
happy
I won't show you the footage.
Well, I'm happy these two car brands feel confident enough in their own skin that they are comfortable with coming out with who they truly are to the public.
Oh, yeah. No, they had to get over a lot of internalized homophobia. So I'm really proud of them.
Wait, is it still a bit? Or are you talking about like policy-wise they had to get over a lot of internal corporate homophobia?
So they can be gay to each other. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the two car brands, Ford and Chevy, could be gay with each other.
I'm getting the feeling that you're not being serious.
So anyway, Michigan got rid of its right to work law, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Like, no one in their right mind is like, yeah, like, sure, I exist. Hold on. Where is it? Hold on. Sure.
We live in a society.
But like, I shouldn't have to like abide by the social contract because that's coercive.
Yeah. I don't even know. It's just like, do you or do you not like getting paid more for relatively less work?
Yeah. Well, also the thing is, any money that you would spend in union dues is probably going to be made up for in benefits that you receive and like higher wages,
right?
And all that fun stuff,
right?
So anyway,
wait. So if a rail worker decides to just like, if a group of rail workers decide to go on strike, they just get sued.
Something like that. I don't know what exactly the legal repercussions are, but I assume you're talking about like in light of the
so
train stuff.
I was just like, how do you legally like force someone to show up for work?
I mean, bring in the National Guard. It's been done before.
What are you gonna do? Like get your office, like at gunpoint, get your office workers to the office and say, fill out these spreadsheets.
I mean, yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of labor history in this country went. Like workers tried to collectively like organize, then they bring in like the police to bash heads and get people back to work, break up.
Yeah,
like,
you know what makes me want to work? A nice goose egg.
Yeah.
Not like an egg like they're like, oh, it's like full protein, it's super good for breakfast. Like they hit me in the head with a baton and now my face is bleeding and swelling.
Yeah, and they don't even just need like physical violence on their side anymore, because
they
like
just sue the fuck out of you because they know you can't afford the defense.
Yeah, they can sue the fuck out of you. They could just give you an illness and make you not able to afford to treat it. No, they could just like freeze your fucking bank accounts.
Right. You know what I love? I love how corporations do this, and they're like, we can't find any workers.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because they saw that John Doe over there, he was like, hey, I want healthcare, and I'm going to unionize if you don't give me healthcare. And then you guys sued the fuck out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
So I don't want to work for you anymore. I don't want to work for you.
Yeah, and like you expect that behavior out of private companies and like private institutions because like of course that's like the nature of them. But it gets really disappointing when the state goes along with it just because these corporations have so much power.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ties in with what I was saying earlier about what we choose to prioritize. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because that's good news. And I feel like we don't talk about enough good news here.
Yeah. No, it's good.
No,
did I ever talk about nuclear? Did I ever talk about nuclear fusion or the nuclear fusion?
I think you talked to me about it on the phone, but you have not mentioned it on the show.
Oh, can I mention it on the show now? This is also good news.
Nice car.
I was going to say up yours, woke moralist, but I
feel
like I take too much time when I switch between the pages.
For those of you who are listening and don't know, my erect penis is actually out, and he is looking at it.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
I thank you for pointing that out because I don't want a prospective employer to be like, you were exposing yourself to a dude on Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they would think.
I don't want to have to be in the position to be like, no, it was a bit. I was joking.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question.
Yeah, next question.
Next question, please. I run the interview.
Yeah.
They're like, what's up with this? What's up with this gap in your resume? I'm stupid. Next question.
Yeah. So anyway, was it nuclear fusion or was it nuclear fusion?
Yeah. So nuclear fusion.
So they found a new kind of fusion.
Fuck you. nuclear fusion. You're like the fucking teacher who someone's like, hey, can I use the bathroom? And you're like, you may use the bathroom.
And then I say no.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I go through the whole thing. May you use the bathroom? No.
Oh, just fucking Jesus. I imagine you doing that.
Now go
up
to the board and write the complete works of William Shakespeare.
But you say Shakespeare
I
wrong.
go to the bathroom. I don't even need to go, but I'm going to just to make a point. It's May.
Anyway.
It's May.
Anyway, so a lab in California, successfully had ignition of nuclear fusion material. This lab has been trying to do this for like years and years. I forget how long. But they finally had ignition, which means that the nuclear fuel they were using, when they ignited it, it released more energy than they put in, which is good.
And that's called profit.
Now, for those of you who don't know, the whole idea of nuclear fusion is that if you
I appreciate you enunciating it every time now.
Anyway, so the whole point of I'm not even going to dignify that. I'm not even fucking dignify that, you son of a bitch. Anyway, so the whole point of nuclear fusion, the whole idea is that if you get a source of nuclear fuel hot enough, fast enough that the atoms will fuse together and release more energy than you put in. Alex when I was talking to Alex about this on the phone, he was just like, I love how these big, grandiose schemes are like basically gorilla brained, like,
oh yeah,
ooh, hard enough, fast enough, big boom.
Well, yeah, what I was saying is like, I love how like there's such a drastic difference between different branches of science. Like when you look at like chemistry or biology, they're like very carefully measuring out like microns of juice and then measuring the amounts of electrolytes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like weighing to like the millionth of a gram or whatever.
Well,
and then you get to like, you know, like particle science where it's like, what if we smashed this thing into another thing? What if we got this thing really, really fast and shot it at another thing?
Well, it's funny because like they shoot atoms and like at least in the CERN Super Collider, they shoot atoms at each other, which is the equivalent. Like imagine just for a moment, just think about this. So when two galaxies collide in space, there is so much emptiness within galaxies that like stars never collide.
Oh,
it pretty much never happens.
Just like in Star Trek.
Fuck off. Fucking bite me. Now the ratio of stuff to space relative to from a galaxy relative to an atom it's disproportional completely because there's significantly more empty space per stuff in an atom than there is in a galaxy. And they still manage, like, it's not even funny. It's like it's like the person who the physicist who discovered this intentionally tapped his foot on the ground to make sure it wouldn't go through. I'm not even kidding. Like once he was just like, oh shit, it's mostly nothing.
Yeah.
He was like, wait, I can still, he's like sitting. I don't know why he was like, I don't know if this is going to work.
Well, yeah, I remember, you mentioned, fuck, was it Cosmos, the Neil deGrasse Tyson one.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, I have it burned into my mind. Like the one moment I remember from that show is when he's explaining like why like you can touch stuff, like it touches despite there being nothing there, and it's like it has to do with like not magnetic, but like, you know, like
fucking magnets.
I'm trying not to say
how do they work.
I'm trying not to say force fields, but force fields basically. But what I have burned into my mind is like the kid like poking the other kid in the face or whatever.
Pretty much. Well, it's funny too because we know that matter is just mostly nothing.
Yeah, it's mostly just
it's just mostly like empty space, right?
Yeah.
And because matter is mostly that, mathematically, if you got all the fucking odds in your favor, there's mathematically nothing stopping your hand on any given day from passing through a desk.
Yeah.
Like, that could happen.
And that is God. I love breaking out my youth pastor character every so often.
Oh my God. No, it's like,
hey, you know how science sometimes doesn't know something? That's my thing. That's my thing that I made up.
Well, like, I exhale and I'm like looking behind me to make sure no priests are going to put me on house arrest. Like,
you know who else was on house arrest? For 3 days, actually. Jesus.
I think he was killed. Own a house.
Because he was killed for 3 days.
He was grounded for 3 days for getting killed.
Yeah, he was grounded approximately 6 feet under.
Anyway, fucking goddamn it! What was I gonna say? Yeah, so nuclear ignition. Essentially, hot enough, fast enough, the hydrogen atoms fuse together and release more energy than they, than they got put in. Now, to put that into perspective too, I say that they brought out more energy than they got shot into them. That's what she said.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because you mentioned that it wasn't quite as simple as that.
No. So they have these super lasers, essentially, that shoot lasers at a pellet.
Freaking laser beams.
Right, and they actually do attach it to a shark's head, funny enough.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's our tax dollars at work.
Well, and actually, the shark is in the middle of coitus.
Fuck yeah.
And so it's actually a frickin' shark with a frickin' laser beam attached to its frickin' head.
Yeah, yep, and it is freaking.
It is freaking.
You best believe.
JK. And that's why it's not actually, doesn't actually release as much energy as it puts in, because it takes a lot of energy to keep these sharks alive.
Yeah, you got to feed them a lot.
A lot. Anyway, so they don't have sharks to disappoint our listeners.
Yeah, don't worry. We were just kidding.
But these super lasers require a lot of energy to run. And they aren't at an efficient economy of scale, because they're obviously just trying to get this to work first. Yeah. Funny enough, how to make an economy of scale, you have to get the thing to work first. So on paper, the hydrogen pellets that they have released 2/3 more energy than they put in. Right? In actuality, if you're talking net energy used to even run this experiment versus the energy that the hydrogen pellets released, it's like the opposite.
Yeah. So like the way that they get that figure from is just measuring like the amount of energy like from just the laser itself.
From just what they put in versus what the hydrogen pellets released.
But when you consider like the amount of power that it takes to get the thing running, to get it warmed up.
They have their own power grid.
Yeah.
They have their own, literally, because the first time they tried, I think at least, the first time they tried to do this, because they didn't know how much energy it would take, right? But they also didn't really know how much energy the power grid could feasibly, how much energy in the city's power grid could feasibly be taken out without causing issues.
Right.
So they just tried it out, and they ended up causing, like, a citywide blackout.
Shit.
So that's fun. Anyway, they got ignition, and it's really cool because for years and years, other scientific labs have been calling them like the almost ignition lab, because they were always almost so close. They would always have like some part of it. Like I think one of their issues was they would have one part of the pellet, because they have these pellets filled with hydrogen, obviously. They would have one part ignite, but not the rest of it. Right, and so it was like making that ignition even across the surface of the pellet, and then on top of that, having the correct ratio of having the pellet heat up to a certain temperature. It's so many fine details that are like, if you get this like a hair wrong, it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
or it explodes. Interestingly enough, for those of you who thought this was never possible or would never be possible, like myself, I didn't think that would be possible. It's been shown to be possible through hydrogen bombs. They know that's yeah, shit.
Oops.
Fuck. So they know it's possible. They did it. It's fun. It's cool. And I masturbate to the thought of it every night.
Yeah. No, it is kind of like
JK.
There's something funny about the juxtaposition between conceptually what they're doing and how much meticulous like planning goes into it. Because like they're just shooting a laser at a thing and lighting it on fire. Like that's what they're like, what if we shot a thing and it was on fire and we use that to power a city?
Yeah.
Like it's just this like I said before, it's just this ape brain shit, but it takes like literally a PhD to even understand really. But
and it's like it's not even like a PhD to like it's a PhD of nuclear physics. You need PhDs of engineering.
You need a PhD to understand an aspect of this project, which is just like lighting a thing on fire.
And then you need like a statistician. Yeah. Because like there are even like oh, what are the odds of like just a random thing not working, because that's how nuclear physics works.
You need someone to pick up coffee.
You need someone
you need a janitor.
Never mind. You need a janitor. Maybe a bus system.
I also wanted to point out, going back to like making fun of like this ape brain shit, like what if we threw a particle at another particle at the speed of light? I wanted to point out with like I believe it's the Large Hadron Collider. That's like the big international one. We like set aside centuries long like differences, disputes. We brought world peace to a specific place on the map just to make a thing go really fast and hit another thing. And I think like that's beautiful.
Right. Well, the super beautiful thing about that is that, so at least like a century ago, when this like intellectual renaissance of understanding how the world works became a thing of national pride, right? If a country had the best science institutes, it was like a source of national pride. And so, you know, it got to a point where it's like these people were doing this for like king and country, right? And then they were like, no, but actually what happens when you throw an atom at another atom at the speed of light? I want to know what happens. Can we do that?
Also, what is an atom?
Also, what is an atom? Hurry, Einstein, discover the atom so we can throw it. we can throw them at each other at the speed of light.
What is the smallest thing we can throw at another thing?
Right. And it got to a point, I just love that it got to a point, this was such an itching question for so many different scientists and so many different parts of the world that they're like, hey, I know that we hate each other, but like, do you also want to know what happens when this happens? Yeah, okay, I love it. Listen, we'll put the fighting back on the menu after we figure that out, but like, I fucking hate you, but I want to figure this out.
Look, I'm Muslim, you're Hindu, but tonight we are just two people that want to see a thing go crash into another thing really, really fast.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
That's great.
That's beautiful.
That's great. Can I really quickly explain the difference between normal nuclear bombs and hydrogen bombs?
Yeah, explain the difference between a nuclear... Oh, Haley's handing me Wormy. Look at that. This is Wormy.
Aww.
Maybe I'll make him the thumbnail. I don't know.
So... Nuclear bombs. I think I just have a speech impediment.
Yeah.
Nuclear bombs use a certain kind of nuclear fuel, usually plutonium or uranium, but it has to be a specific like atomic number, right? So they have to have a certain amount of protons to neutrons to effectively work. And also I want to point out that the kind of nuclear fuel they use in these bombs can only be made by scientists who are trying to make them for war. So that's
Makes
how you
sense.
can test. Yeah,
doesn't seem like the kind of thing you could just put together in a bathtub.
Right. And so that's why you see so many political disputes about like Iran making like nuclear fuel, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, we shouldn't let them use nuclear reactors because they can make nuclear, bombs with it. And it's like,
yeah, well,
but
that was like
process.
wasn't that like the whole point of I forget
Iranian,
what it, like the nuclear agreement.
Right. It was like, you can do that,
but
don't make the Iran nuclear deal.
Yeah. Yeah, like the whole point of it was to be like, look, we can't feasibly stop this country from developing like technologically, right? But like we gotta make sure they don't make a bomb. We gotta make sure they don't make a fucking bomb.
So anyway, a normal nuclear bomb works by having a source of like uranium or plutonium that has a specific atomic number, so that when it crashes into itself, like you have two chunks of uranium or plutonium that crash into each other really fucking quickly to the point where they release alpha particles, which are like a proton and neutron.
And they look like little Andrew Tates.
No, they actually look like little thick behinds.
And they're little. They drive their little Bugattis. Yeah, because they're alpha. They're alpha particles.
Anyway, so those alpha particles hit other uranium atoms and plutonium atoms, and it causes more energy to be released from those atoms, and that system proliferates to the whole of the chunk of uranium or plutonium, causing a giant fucking explosion of energy.
Of course.
It's terrible because not all uranium and plutonium gets used up in that reaction. And it also sucks because they're crazy fucking radioactive. And so it spreads radiation throughout everywhere that it touches.
Yeah. Basically,
like what happened in Japan.
Spilling cancer.
Essentially. Now, hydrogen bombs work by having essentially what this lab did, which is you have a source of really pressurized hydrogen with a specific atomic number, and you pressurize it enough at the point of impact that the hydrogen atoms fuse together, releasing more energy than they have gotten in, causing an even larger explosion because that system is significantly more efficient than nuclear fission. And so that happens, and it's a big old explosion, and that's why people are more afraid of hydrogen bombs than nuclear bombs.
But it's still got to be pretty close, right?
I mean, regardless, like, it's going to destroy the world if anyone uses it.
Yeah.
So, like, objectively, the difference in outcomes is that one is radioactive and the other is not. Hang on. I didn't know if hydrogen bombs are radioactive.
Yeah. Well, like, with the nuclear bomb, like, if the bomb itself doesn't get you, the radiation will.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, look up your last little piece of information, then you want to get to the movie. But first, I have to use the bathroom.
A-bombs and H-bombs use radioactive material like uranium or plutonium.
Oh, so they'll both just give you cancer.
They'll both just, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's get to the movie, but first I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to play some hold music.
I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother sitting by the bed.
I've returned.
I took off my headphones because I was not about to listen to that shit again.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you.
Oh, some other good news? One other good news.
Okay. All right. One more.
Vladimir Putin has had a warrant out for his arrest from the International Court of Justice for war crimes, and I think crimes against humanity, for kidnapping kids from Ukraine and bringing them to Russia for essentially brainwashing.
Yeah. Human trafficking, basically.
Essentially. But human trafficking of children, which is especially a heinous crime. So he now can't really go to any other country except for China, North Korea, and Belarus.
You know what? You know what the thing is about that? You know what the thing is?
Oh! Everyone listen up. He's saying the thing. Gather around. He's saying the thing, guys. Okay, what's the thing, Alex?
Look, if I'm Vladimir Putin...
Here comes the thing, guys. Here it comes. Here's the thing. He's saying it.
Look,
See him right there. He's saying it. Here's the thing.
I just want to illustrate how little trouble he's actually in. He's the leader of his own country, and he gets to go to, what was it, like 3 other countries that you listed? China and North Korea, Belarus. That's more countries than I've been to. Him as a wanted international war criminal, he has a better standard of living than just an average person. Just to put into perspective how little trouble he's in. But no, good that he is like, they're saying up yours woke moralist to him. I hope they get him.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't like what he did.
I hope that if he's like flying somewhere, they have they need to land because they have like an issue and they have to land in like Japan. And Japan's like, hey motherfucker. So we have a warrant out for your arrest.
Japan says,
Court of Justice.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Because you said,
I'm going to blow up the city.
Well, I think it would be funny if they're like, hey, we have a warrant out for your arrest. We're also trying to make up for the atrocities we did in China and North Korea during World War II. So,
yeah.
So come with us, please.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want him, like, I want him to get arrested, but I want him to get like arrested at like a traffic stop.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something funny about that to me.
I think it would be funny if like he's in Belarus and like his own guards are like, hey guys, you just want to smuggle him into Poland?
Sir, do you know how fast you were going? Also, you're under arrest for war crimes.
But some people think this is a good thing. I mean, obviously it's a good thing, but a lot of like political analysts and stuff are saying that this is a big threat for him because now there's an incentive for people in his own circle to like somehow rat him out when they get the opportunity and then kind of take the reins in Russia. Because there's an international warrant out for his arrest. Right. And so,
well, I just hope it doesn't result in like someone worse taking his place. Because that's usually how this power vacuum stuff goes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I want to really mention too that I want to make a distinction between like the fact that I want Putin to have consequences for his actions, versus like I do want Russia to have a very good relationship with Europe. I think that is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good
thing. Peace is better than war.
Peace is better than war, inherently. And the thing is, this isn't a Russian problem. This isn't a Russia problem. This is a Vladimir Putin problem.
Yeah.
So I hope he gets to see justice. And I can't really dig too much on Russia just because, I mean, the United States.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially in this case.
Yeah, no, he definitely should be in trouble. I think he deserves it. Yeah, my whole point with bringing up how little trouble he's actually in, that's all to say, just count your blessings, Vlad. Like, you could just chill forever and be fine.
You could go to one of your multiple islands that you own.
Just chill for the rest of your life. You could do that.
And people would like you more for it.
Why do you want Ukraine?
Right.
Like, what will that do for you that you don't already have?
It's because he's a wannabe dictator. That's why.
Yeah. I just don't understand that kind of ambition.
I kind of do. But, like, it's only in a sense of, like, you got to know where they're coming from to understand what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Just seems like a lot of work.
As any rational person would say. Seems like a lot of work. Seems like a lot of death and destruction for not much gain.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Anyway, we watched a movie this week.
We watched a movie. Actually, I think it was about Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. Actually, no, this was The American Psycho.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a common mistake.
Or as many dyslexics call it, The American Psycho.
Yeah. No, that's that's it. Yeah, so this was your suggestion. Had you seen it before suggesting it for this one, for this episode?
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Care to elaborate?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, well, fine, I'll start. I think I've seen it twice now. The first time, I don't think I really got it as much as I did the second time. It definitely benefits from repeat viewing.
I even recommend watching like a crash course video.
Yeah.
Just to get your head around it.
Yeah, the Wisecrack Deeper Dumb video is really good. Wisecrack does a lot of really good film analysis, and they work in a lot of like philosophical like research. The main guy that does the videos there is like a philosophy major. Like he has like a degree in philosophy, so that's where he comes at a lot of the stuff from, and it's a really interesting angle. So, check them out. Shout out to them. But yeah, no, this movie definitely benefits from repeat viewings because a lot of it is so like ambiguous and kind of like metaphorical, I guess, if that's the right term to use. Like a lot of especially the ending where it's like, wait, did he actually kill those people? Is he just seeing things? Like, I think the first time I watched it, I was trying too hard to keep up with the plot. And I was trying too hard to like follow the narrative. And I think the second time I was able to kind of let go and like, I know where it's going. So I get to kind of like slow down and like recognize like, like the allegories and the metaphors and all that.
I really like in this movie how when they have that investigator trying to investigate the murder,
Willem
the death
Dafoe's
of Paul
character.
Allen. I like how, because I watched a crash course kind of video about like how the directors wanted this movie to be and like what they were trying to do, so I could kind of understand a bit better. And I guess they had Willem Dafoe film some of his scenes in three ways. Like one where he didn't know Patrick Bateman was the killer. One where he was suspecting Patrick Bateman was the killer, and the third where he knew Patrick Bateman was the killer.
Yeah, if you didn't bring that up, I was going to, because that's a really good piece of trivia.
And that's why it's like in some of the scenes where they're having like they're having conversations about it.
Yeah, and then they like cut it together. So like shot for shot, like it could be a different take.
Like some of the scenes he's like staring into Patrick Bateman's soul, like I wonder where he is.
Yeah, and it gets kind of like erratic.
Right, and then some of them are like, I suppose you wouldn't know. You're just a banker. I have other suspects too, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it helps you get into Patrick Bateman's headspace, where he's just like really unhinged and unstable.
Well, especially if he is like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't expect him to like know those cues.
Right. Yeah, he's basically just like wearing human skin.
Right. But I also like it how it like, cause I don't hang around hoity-toity people, right? So like that's kind of how I like American Psycho is kind of how I imagine being social in like a hoity-toity sort of world of being.
Yeah, like
incredibly superficial, and no one even knows your name.
Like the world of 1980s Wall Street. Yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah, it does a really good job showing just how vapid these people are. Like they're literally interchangeable.
Right. Well, it's like they're your best friends who don't know your name.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
They only know it's your birthday because they were invited.
Yeah. Yeah, Patrick like almost blends in kind of. Because his psychopath behavior just really goes unnoticed. One, because they aren't really noticing him as a person, but two, because that's just how everyone kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not like a murderous psycho, but like they're also kind of detached from humanity.
Exactly. And like another thing I really liked was how they like change names around sometimes.
Yeah.
And so like Paul Allen will be like, oh, that loser, Patrick Bateman, right to Patrick Bateman's face. And I'm like, does he know that's Patrick Bateman? Is he aware that's Patrick?
No idea.
To that point,
he has no clue.
To that point, it's like, does Patrick Bateman know if that's Paul Allen?
Yeah. That's a good point, actually, because like we see everyone else like mistake him for someone else, and like we only see Paul Allen from Patrick's perspective. So like to him, like it looks like the same guy every time, but to an outside observer, like, yeah, that could be a different fucking dude. What if he didn't even kill? You know what? That kind of makes like you remember the end of the movie where he's like, I killed Paul Allen, and the guy's like, I had lunch with Paul Allen
like a week ago.
Fuck, maybe he just didn't kill Paul Allen.
Right. Well, that's what I was
the way
thinking.
that I interpreted it before was just like that guy thought he had lunch with Paul Allen.
Right. Well, I was like, what if, because this movie, if you're looking at it from like an investigation standpoint, is like, yeah, do we even know who people are?
None of this is admissible.
Do we even know if that's even, like, we know that's Patrick Bateman because he's like, I'm Patrick Bateman.
Do we even know that's Huey Lewis in the News?
Do we even know if that's a prostitute?
Maybe that's just someone who he found outside that wanted money.
Right. Like everyone?
Yeah.
Like, why is anyone outside?
Just anyone.
I really like if I were that PI, like if I was Willem Dafoe in this movie, I would be like at a party with all the people and be like, all right, everyone fucking sit down and shut up and give me your goddamn ID so I can figure out who the fuck
government issued identification card.
I will not take membership passes. I will not take your goddamn Costco card.
I won't take your subtle off-white eggshell bone business card.
I will not take your fucking business card. Don't show me your cell phone. I want your ID or goddamn passport.
I like to think that they're like George Santos and that if you tried to really corner them and like they're running away and you tackle them, like you get up and you find like just a scarecrow in their place.
Right.
That's how I imagine it.
I like to think that like one of the people was just like a bodysuit like stuffed with straw.
Maybe it was just one guy running around really fast so it looks like more people.
What if Patrick Bateman actually murdered the straw man stuffed with straw, thinking it's Paul Allen? Because everyone was like, yeah, that's Paul Allen. He's just really quiet and sits, but no one has had the time to like walk up and introduce themselves. And so like he thinks that's Paul Allen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, he's just really quiet and doesn't walk and I have to carry him everywhere.
Yeah.
And he just murders like this scarecrow.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the card scene. Just because I love it so much. Christian Bale does a really good job portraying like the obsession that this guy has. Like they're just comparing
like the vain
business
obsession.
Cards. They're comparing essentially the same thing, just with very minute differences.
Right.
And I love the shot of him like holding. He's looking so closely at. He's
shaking.
Sweating. He's like sweating.
That's real sweat. They didn't spray him down. Like the prop person was like, we can like spray you down with some glycerin or something. He's like, no, I got this.
He's like, no, I just really love business cards.
No, what? Listen, like I know it's weird, but like I have a kink for business cards, and I get hard when I see an eggshell of white.
You know what? The way that Patrick Bateman like perceives the differences in like the finish and the color on the card reminds me of when we talk about economic issues like earlier this episode when you were like, oh, look at the subtle off-white shading on how you perceive the economy. Oh, some people are prioritized over other people.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but I after watching like deep dives into the plot of American Psycho, on the business cards they actually spell acquisitions wrong. They spell acquisitions wrong, and no one fucking noticed. Like, I think it's written in. I think it's written in that no one at that table.
Textual.
That no one fucking noticed. And this is like obvious. Like the director's meant for that to happen.
I love that detail. I love that.
Acquisitions is misspelled, and they're worried about the off-white. Like any legitimate business person would look at the card and be like, you spelled acquisitions wrong. I'm not going to do business with you.
They might as well have written murders and executions.
They might as well said like I killed Paul Allen on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that so much. No, yeah, more about like his portrayal, Christian Bale's portrayal. It's really good. Really good in this movie.
It's really great. I really liked that, like that, and I don't mean to say gay in a mean way, but the gay character.
That was just an adjective. That's just what he was.
I forget his name. But how he's just like, oh, Patrick, I love your suit. What kind of fabric is this? And Patrick Bateman is like,
yeah, like unhand me.
Your compliment will suffice.
Oh yeah.
And he tries to murder him in the bathroom, but he thinks that Patrick Bateman is just kinky.
Yeah.
Because
no one knows what's going on with the other person.
Right.
No one actually communicates anything.
For all I know, that's Paul Allen.
It fucking could be.
I don't.
Who
if
cares?
I were the PI, I'd just be like, shut up and give me your goddamn ID. I'm so annoyed with all of you. You insulted this man directly to his face, not knowing it was him.
The guy's in the bathroom. Let's see Paul Allen's penis.
And one dude has like a tattoo of like the space shuttle on his penis, but no one notices.
Yeah.
One guy has acquisitions spelled really badly, spelled incorrectly on his penis, and no one notices.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No, I love Christian Bale's performance in this movie. I think he does a really good job making the character feel relatable in certain ways.
Right. Yeah.
Not in like he's just like me for real kind of way. Like, oh fuck. Oh, I gotta reconsider some things. You know what I mean?
I don't even know. Like, it seems like if Patrick Bateman wasn't like wanting to kill people and wasn't a psychopath, like everything that he's doing, like besides the murders, everything that he's doing just seems like a dude who's super like social and sociable, but is always just like in a situation where no one cares and no one wants to be social or sociable.
Yeah.
And he's just like going a little fucking nuts.
Yeah.
He's going a little stir crazy.
It also feels like he's really like performing humanity.
Right.
Like I don't know, maybe I'll notice it differently rewatching, but from what I remember from the scenes where he's like explaining like why he likes, these different albums, right? Where he's like analyzing the music. Like he goes into like the history of the band. He goes into like their like commercial success, their like public reception, but he doesn't really ever talk about how he feels about the music.
Which is kind of his job. Like that's just his job at the acquisitions company. It's not how you feel about it. It's how it's performing.
Yeah, well, I guess that would be why he succeeds so much. Like why
allegedly he's the son of the dude who owns the acquisitions company.
That too. It is all nepotism. But
right.
Yeah, to the extent that he is succeeding on like his own skills, like that's probably it because he's a psycho. But like he's really analytical, but he misses the human element.
Right, like he's almost like it's almost his character that he plays in public only is on the outside border of humanity.
Yeah.
And can never really get in there.
It's like he says in the voiceover. Like, yeah, he puts on a nice outfit. He does everything he's supposed to, but he's just not there.
This also, I want to mention, we're doing a movie review of a movie that came out the year I was born.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. But like, yeah, he can explain like why Hip to Be Square, like, it succeeded, like how it builds upon the past discography. He mentions like what it means in terms of like the band, like their goal, like their mission statement at the time. But he never just says it's a good song that is fun to dance to.
Right, there's no song that he's just like, I don't know what the lyrics say, but this one makes my booty want to wiggle.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, like he doesn't really care about the human element of it, or I guess he just isn't wired to notice that kind of stuff or care about it.
Right.
Yeah, I think this guy is some kind of American Psycho.
Wow, I'm just like Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
I'm just like Patrick Bateman.
This movie does have like a huge like me and the boys kind of vibe to it.
I just hate it. Like a bunch of business dude bros are like, yeah, American Psycho. And it's like, he's the bad guy, right?
Well, like, yeah. Well, like certain certain clips have like the aesthetic of like, oh, it's me when I walk to class, and he's like listening to music. And it's like this really upbeat music, and he's walking with like a stern, serious expression on his face. Just kind of blank faced. Like that's why the movie's so memeable. Cause like well, like not to break out philosophy terms, but Wisecrack has talked about how like a lot of comedy is derived from like excess and lack, like pointing out like the excess in something or the lack in something. Like there's an excess in like fucking energy in the song, but like a lack in just how he is listening to it.
Right.
Yeah. I also like this is just a part that I think is funny when he's in the car with what's her name, and he's like, I was trying to listen to the new Robert Palmer album.
Right.
Yeah. I just like it. I
think that I think the other thing because I don't know why he would do this, given his whole like thing about being healthy and good looking. Why he smokes cigars?
Because it's just what you do. Because he's performing humanity. He's performing his role in society, basically, and that's just what people do. But
even then, when he's not around people, after he murdered Paul Allen, the first thing he did was smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
Right?
That also has an element of like chemical like dependency. Or not dependency, but like
music and cigars are the only thing he actually enjoys.
Yeah. And even then, like the cigars, like it's just like a chemical reaction going on in his body.
Right.
Like that's all it really is. Like there's a big difference between liking cigars because of the fucking nicotine, right?
Yeah.
And like appreciating art for like its the human element.
Yeah. So another thing too I like is how when people go to Christian Bale, they're like, yeah, American Psycho, he's always like, guys, I was a murdering psychopath.
Oh yeah. He's like, guys, you're not supposed to like him. Please stop saying that he's just like you.
Stop it. I don't want people to be murdering psychopaths. But also I was going to mention, this is another trivia thing. So he's actually Welsh, Christian Bale.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I forget that every time. Like
he's Welsh, and so when he's also a method actor, right? So on set, he was always speaking an American accent, and he was always trying to beyond the killing,
and he was always killing prostitutes.
He was just murdering a bunch of homeless people.
They were going through PAs like
nothing,
like a thing you go through a lot of.
Right.
Yeah.
And after they had wrapped shooting, he went to speaking his natural Welsh accent, right? And people thought he was trying to train for like another part, and they're like, "Oh, are you doing like a Welsh?" He's like, "No, I'm just Welsh."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm Welsh," and they're like, "Oh, like the ranch dressing." No, wait. Well, what's that one? Fuck. What? Wait, that one. They're like tapioca flavored candies.
I don't know.
Like caramel candy. Fuck.
Like Werther's
Welsh. Well, no.
Anyway, he talks with an accent.
Maybe it is Werther's. Yeah, I'm just a fucking Werther's. Never mind. I was gonna be like, oh, you like that? Anyway, that was a bad bit. Anyway. I like to think that Patrick Bateman went through he decided eventually that like he doesn't like the uncomfortableness of being a murderer and a psychopath, so he decided to murder for good, thus becoming Batman.
Yeah. That's my headcanon. Yeah, no, he just like abducted an old man, and he was like, "You're Alfred.
You're Alfred now."
I don't understand, Master Bateman. It's Master Wayne.
Master Bateman.
It calls me Master Wayne, or it gets the hose again.
Master Bates Man.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Anyway, best movie ever, I would say.
I would say best movie ever.
I'm glad we agree. Anyway, technically this week was your week to pick, but you picked Cocaine Bear, and I was like, can we do something that I don't need to go to the theater to see? So that's why we ended up with American Psycho this week. So you want to do Cocaine Bear next week? Keeping in mind that my M3 Blu-ray arrived, and from what I remember watching it last night, it's very funny.
Can I put a little rule in here, because we're in a constitutional crisis here with who gets to choose movies. Here, we need to add a new clause.
Yeah,
that's if one of us doesn't have the necessary tools to watch a given movie, you get to have a default. The person whose turn it is to choose can choose a different movie, but then the movie, after they watch the movie that they had originally recommended, it's still their choice to choose the next movie.
Yeah. So it's your choice.
Cocaine Bear. So we'll watch Cocaine Bear, but then I get to choose the next movie, because then technically that was your choice.
Wait, hold on. No. American Psycho and Cocaine Bear were both your choice.
No, I said Cocaine Bear, and you said, I can't watch that. I don't have things to watch that. So I said, how about American Psycho? And you said, sure. Technically, that's your choice.
No, I said, do you want to watch anything else? And you said American Psycho. And we both know who has the better memory.
So Avatar?
All right, let me figure out what to make you choose that will make you end up watching Cocaine Bear.
No, we can watch Cocaine Bear. I'm just being a dick.
Yeah. No, because I know that if I pick one thing, you'll be like, you wanted to watch Avatar, right? So I'm trying to 4D chess it. So, all right, so Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear.
All right. Yeah. And it's easier. I actually don't know when it released digitally. I was going to say it's easier this week because they did release it digitally, so you don't have to go to the theater to watch it if you don't want to.
I'll just go to your mama's house.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we're doing next week. See it in theaters, rent it on iTunes or whatever if you want.
Exactly.
Anyway, you want to get to recommendations of the week?
I'd love to.
Awesome. All right. Do you have anything? If so, add it to the list. He's looking around.
Oh, here, I have a thing.
Yeah?
So whenever you get hungry late at night, there's one snack that hits the right notes of grainy goodness to sweetness that I quite enjoy, and that is the Delicious Taste of Life cereal. It's heart healthy, an excellent source of 5B vitamins, and there's no artificial preservatives.
No thanks. I don't like Life.
Take the shot.
Anyway.
They also have a fun game on the back of the box. We have to find all the differences in these two images.
Oh, that's fun.
Which I've already done 5 times.
Wow.
And also found some
that's really impressive, Gavin.
No, I've also found some unintended.
That might as well be the shit from Glass Onion. It might as well be the puzzle box.
Sometimes there's like a difference in like how the ink set on the box, and I'll be like, oh, but it's not one of them anyway.
Yeah, that's great. He's looking very intently. I think he's playing the game again.
I've already found.
I think he's playing it. Wow, you're after I solved the children's puzzles.
5.
Gavin, that's really impressive that you're doing that, and I just want to say that you're a very,
6.
very smart boy. You're very special. I just want you to know that.
I found 7.
And I ask of you, may we get through the rest of the show before you get back to your game. Anyway, Anyway, if you think of anything else, add it to the list. But
Me.
I forgot about that. Should we tell the story behind that? Or,
wait, yeah, no, I want to hear your recollection of the events.
So not last week. So like the 2 weeks before this came out, Gavin came down here and visited, and we were able to record in person. If you did not notice in the episode last week, but later that night, we were eating Gavin's birthday pie, and that's not a euphemism. He brought
a
pie.
Dude came in my ass, and they ate it out of my ass.
Yeah. No, we did that later. No, he brought a pie to celebrate his birthday, and we were eating it in the living room, and it was out of his reach, and he was like almost like showing me his empty plate. And he was like looking down at the plate, then like looking at me, looking down at the plate, then looking at me
like a fucking dog.
Yeah, like kind of like a smirk on his face, dog. like he realized what was happening was stupid, but it was still happening anyway. And he was like, can you and I was like, Gavin, do you want more pie?
I would look at you and I'd be like, hey, Alex. And I'd look at the plate and look at you and look at the pie, look at you and look at the plate and
almost
look at you
like
and look
trying
at the pie.
To make it my idea. Like he was afraid to ask. And he was like, and I was like, do you want more pie? And he was like, and I was like, do you want to use your words? Go ahead. Come on, you can do it. and like a couple seconds passed. I could see you gearing up for it. But you were like,
I'm crying right now.
Yeah. You were like gesturing towards the pie and you were like, me. What? Bye.
Bye.
So anyway, that's what that was referencing.
Oh, we laughed like fucking children.
I kept remembering it and then cackling. Like I fully realize it is not that funny if you weren't there, but I just feel I feel it ingrained within my soul how funny it was to me.
The joke that we ended up like cognizing out of thin air for that reaction was that I knew how to speak English, but I didn't know how to speak English as it related to asking for pie.
Well, like the reason I found it so funny is like because of that, but like I didn't know you were gonna say want pie, so like all I knew was you were saying me. Like that was like the closest thing that you could find to say. Can you give me some more pie, please?
Can you please give me some more pie?
You're just
I
like,
really appreciate that.
You were like pointing at the pie, and then you're like, me.
One. Bye.
Yeah. Anyway.
We have fun here.
Anyway, I want to recommend an eBay seller. I want to recommend gruv-entertainment on eBay. Gruv, GRUV-entertainment. That's where I get a lot of my Blu-rays now. They sell, like, I don't really know how they get their supply, but they sell a lot of like new sealed movies in good condition because they're new, and they're usually cheaper if not comparable like to their listing on like Amazon or like any other comparable platform. But the thing that I really like is they have a deal where if you buy 2 or more items from their shop, you get 20% off, which is like, I mean, that gets pretty good. It's a pretty good deal.
Was that a pretty good deal, Alex?
Yeah. No, yeah, it was pretty good. So, if you collect physical media such as I, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, that's a good way to get really good condition movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all I have to say for that.
All right.
Yeah, I want to recommend an audio program. It's mostly a podcast, but it's also on HBO Max. I love how you went away from the microphone for that, but I could totally still hear it. I love it. Thank you. So anyway, I want to recommend Batman: The Audio Adventures. It's just a good audio program. It's on all the podcast platforms. It's on HBO Max.
You have to say audio
program. And it's good. It's just like it's kind of like a homage to like old like radio serials.
A homage?
Yeah, homage.
A homage.
Homage to old like superhero radio shows. It has that kind of like golden age charm to it. But it has like, you know, modern niceties of like current superhero stuff. Like it takes place like now. Like it's not like a period piece. But yeah, they have a really good voice cast. They have a lot of people from SNL voicing various characters. But yeah,
wow,
it's just
Sunday's last late.
Yeah, that's that. Yep. Yeah, you got it. Yep. I'll just stop you there because you already got it. Yep.
Sunday's last landline.
Yeah, there are 2 seasons of it out. I don't know if they're making more. They're also doing a comic series of the same name. I don't know if it's like the same plot line. I imagine it is, but I like the audio program because it's free and it's good. Those are the 2 main selling points, I think. But yeah, it's charming. It kind of blends like some of the aesthetics of like the darker Batman stuff with like the fun and like the kind of vibe of like the 60s show, where it like it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like it's a fun program. But you know, like serious stuff happens. Like it's like it has some of like the violence, or I guess implied violence of, you know, more modern Batman stories. But
Did you say Batman?
Yeah, Batman. This Batman program is it's just really good. It's fun, and I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway.
This nowadays Batman program.
Anyway, this will be my last one. Unless you want to add any recommendations, then we can get the fuck out of here. Then we can go return our videotapes. But I recently got a credit card because we have decided that if you don't play the game of capitalism, if you don't spend money that belongs to the bank, but then you pay the bank back, we decided that if you don't do that, you can never own a house. So
unless you get a cosigner, but they have to have enough in assets that it could pay off the house.
Yeah, and not a lot of people have access to that.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I know I got one. I really wanted to avoid getting a credit card because, like, I don't know, it just seems like playing with fire. Like a lot of people, like credit card debt fucks up their life, and I really didn't want to like fall into that. But like the one that I got the Capital One Saver One card. I think that's what it's called, Saver One. Yeah. It's good. It's fine. The big thing to look out for is like the annual fees. Like this card doesn't have an annual fee. It's like the sister card to the Quicksilver card. Neither of them have annual fees. They get 1 to 3% cash back. It's decent stuff. But yeah, the good thing is I don't have to pay to use it, and I like that. The interest rate is really fucking high because I am 21. So it's like 30% interest, but it doesn't really matter if you pay it off. Like I have it set up to do automatic payments out of my savings account every week.
So it's only if you like run out of money in your bank account.
Yeah, as long as
that you would ever like.
Well, like my credit limit is 500. That's what they start you out with. And like if I were to get to the point where I was maxing it out, like 1, I have enough money to cover it, and 2, like that's enough of a wake up call that like I'm not going to run out of money with this.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's annoying that you have to like learn like a fucking meta. You have to learn a meta to make it in this economy. Like you have to I guess if you spend money and then pay it back, like that's good for your credit score. But if you go over like 30% of your credit limit, that's bad for your credit score. And if you carry a balance, that's either good or bad, but you don't want to pay for a balance because then you have to pay, or you don't want to carry a balance because you have to pay interest. It's just a whole fucking thing. And I hate that we have to do it. But yeah, my recommendation is get a credit card, build your credit history if you want to ever own anything or ever get a loan. But be safe about it and use the credit card in a way that you might as well not even have a credit card. Like just treat it like a fucking debit card.
Yeah, and then like just if you can't set up automatic payments to your credit card so that you don't like miss a payment, be on top of that shit.
Yeah, Capital One makes it really easy. And hashtag not sponsored and all that. It's just what I use. But they make it really easy to set up automatic payments. You just type in like your routing number and your account number for your savings account. Then it just like I have it set up so like the same day that I get paid, I get like I send the payment to Capital One. So like I'm never really spending money that I don't have in a sense. And that's just the smart way to do it, I think. So yeah, just be careful. If you're young like us, don't get into financial ruin because you didn't know better.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy to. They almost want you to.
They almost incentivize it.
No, they really do, and that sucks.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, unless you have anything to add, I think that's the end of the show.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of Bold of You to Say. If you liked it, then like it. And if you subscribe, then subscribe. And if you comment, it better be nice or else.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
And
I'm going to blow up the city.
And follow me on social media. Don't follow Gavin anywhere. Don't do it. I know you're thinking about it. Just stop.
Yeah,
okay.
My Instagram's derelict. You won't find it. I mean, you could find content there, but it's really only there to make sure Meta has to pay for my account to exist.
Yeah, we love taking up Meta's resources without giving them anything they want. It's morally good always. Subscribe to the Clips channel. I'm trying to be more active there. Share them around. Try and get us an audience that is not all Jordan Peterson fans. Please, for the love of God. Leave us a review on Podchaser. What's that?
I'm a little worried about it, actually.
Yeah.
It's a little worrying.
YouTube really pushed it out to the worst possible audience. Anyway, leave us a review on Podchaser. That's like an IMDb type site for podcasts. Leave us a review on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you can if you want or don't, whatever. It's fine, whatever. Subscribe on Patreon, $1 a month, early access to episodes. And I've started to put recordings from open mics that I go to on Patreon. So if you're interested in following my comedy journey, whatever, do that. It's not a big deal. You don't have to. It's just whatever.
Look at you being all coy.
Anything that's good enough that I would want strangers listening to it is going up on the main podcast feed anyway. You're really just getting like the rough stuff on Patreon. Yeah. But yeah, if you're interested in the process or whatever.
Indeed.
Yeah, do that. Anyway, have a good 9 a.m. through 9 p.m. our official business hours, and let's go return these videotapes.
Let's return to the summit of Mount Doom.
Yep.